Alright YouTubers, what's going on? Got an exciting video today. New product here. New Chris Reeve's product. Can you tell which one it is? Well, this isn't new. But, oh, that looks so similar, I can't tell. Well, this one, and see if you can tell by the naked eye. I'll give you a second to look. Of course my dryer starts, it just shut off and then it starts. Give me a sec. Alright, sorry about that. So that gives you a few seconds to see if you can tell the difference. One of these is a Sebenza 25, and one of these is a large Inkosi, which was just announced at Blade Show. They had a few there, and one of the dealers from the Facebook groups I'm part of actually grabbed a couple and sold them for normal price, which is awesome, not some exorbitant price because they're not available at dealers yet. And I was able to pick one up, so figured it out yet? Well, it's pretty hard to tell by the naked eye. Maybe besides the lanyard that I haven't taken off because I don't usually do lanyards. But this is the large Inkosi. And obviously it looks so much like the 25. A lot of people are saying, oh, they're just renaming the 25 to Inkosi. Well, there is some truth behind that because the 25 and the Inkosi use a ceramic ball interface versus the Sebenza. So basically, that's not the case though. There's a few different variances here on the outside of the knife that you're going to notice. So if you look closely here, this is the 25. This is the Inkosi. You can tell right here where the stop pin would be. This is solid. You know, this has basically a way to disassemble the knife on both sides. Screw is open on that side. It's closed on this side. Same on that. I mean, other than that, same blade shape. Oh wait, pocket clip. Haha, that's one of the big differences too. One of the complaints on the 25, because of the way that the grooves are cut out for your fingers and such, the ergonomics, is that this pocket clip, which is the old style Sebenza clip, but you can see on the Sebenza 21, you have a little bit more space here on the frame that doesn't create a hot spot. On the 25, now, I've never noticed this. It's never bothered me. I love the 25. I find it very comfortable, but it's not going to fit everyone the same. That created a hot spot. So what they did is they moved the pocket clip ever so slightly and gave it an angle. Now the pocket clips are the same length that I have confirmed, and you can see that visually here. They are the same length, but this one kind of comes across the frame lock a little bit onto the left side of the frame, and you know, again, no hot spot there, and there never really was for me, but others there was. So Chris Reeve knives, they listened to the customers and they made that change. But visually, that's really the only differences. Apparently, the hollow grind on this may be a little steeper, but that was just kind of, you know, because they had new grinders. What I heard from Blade Show, that hasn't been actually confirmed or anything yet. But visually, not a lot of difference. Now, where the differences are in the internals. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna do it off camera. I would do it on camera, but I may do it and then decide to edit that part out. We'll see. But I'm going to disassemble both knives, and so you can see the difference between the two. So stay tuned. Okay. So I didn't do that on camera because it was really difficult to do with the tripod sitting in front of me. Two different knives. So wanted to just both knives are broken down. It's pretty obvious which one is the new Inkosi, which one's not. When you look at the internals, if you're familiar with Sebenzas. The Inkosi has these new washers, as you can see here, larger grease pockets. Notice how they're not just completely round washers, they're actually conformed to the scale and everything. Pretty intense. And here is the 25. And you can see this knife is an EDC knife. It needed to be taken apart and cleaned anyway, so I'm glad I did this. Okay, so twin washers, in fact. The positioning tab from the 25 washer is now gone on the Inkosi, which is good. And they have larger grease pockets, of course, and that'll give it less contamination. And actually, these washers will need less maintenance this way, so that's a really good design. Now, the thing that's interesting here is the stop pin, how it's different. And some people have called it a floating stop pin, and you can see here how it works. I don't have it disassembled. It's just the one screw here that holds it in, and then when you reassemble the knife, it just goes in through this hole here, like so. So it literally is not, it's only connected on one side. I guess you could call that a floating stop pin. Pretty cool. And there's really no reason to take it off when you disassemble the knife, because you can just slides right out of the frame and you're good to go. So floating, another big change is the floating stop pin on the Sebenza. You know, it's quite a bit different. Look at the size difference in the stop pins too. This is the 25, this is the Inkosi. So pretty good difference there as well. Other than that, I mean, look at the scales. They look almost identical. It makes you wonder if you could just take these washers out and swap them over, and obviously the stop pin would be different. The lanyard attachment's the same way. It's a barrel spacer departure from the lanyard tube that was on the 21s here. I always like that about the 25 over the 21 as well. So the lanyard pin, so basically what that floating stop pin I think will do, it'll allow equal friction and support on both sides of the blade. As before, the lanyard pin was really the only part of the knife keeping, or excuse me, now it's the only part of the lanyard pin, or the spacer here, is the only part that's really keeping the knife together. And you can tell here the washers, they butt up against the stop pin here, and it looks like they're indexed as well. So really cool design. So a lot of this is on the regular small Inkosi, so none of this is new. But a lot of people are like, well, I think they just renamed the 25. That's just another 25. Well, I wanted to break it apart and show the differences. Other than that, your similarities are, I mean, it's very similar. Your pivots look nearly identical. They probably actually are identical. Same big old beefy pivot. There we go. Sorry about that. This is the 25. This is the Inkosi. Those look like they'd be interchangeable. So the big differences are the washer and the floating stop pin, which are actually pretty huge differences. Now, this knife, just got it obviously, and it has not even been used. One thing that someone brought up that wanted someone to look at when they got one, so I want to check it out, was that there was a cutout, has a groove cut into the tang of the blade as an interface for the ceramic ball. That is what I'm trying to find. How are these different? Here is your 25 blade. This is your Inkosi blade. Let's look at those up close and personal. Do we see any difference between the two? Right there. Yep. You can see right there. There's that groove for that ceramic ball. So that creates an interface with the ceramic ball. So that's also an improvement over the 25. So there is differences, guys. There is definitely a reason to purchase the large Inkosi if you have a 25 and you like the 25 and there's nothing wrong with it. The pod clip doesn't bother you. You just like, what's the point? I think they're just renaming it. They're not. This is it's a different knife. It looks it's very, very similar, but there's some pretty huge differences. And you wouldn't really know them until you took the knife apart and you actually dissected it like this and compared them side by side. So that's why I wanted to do this. I thought this would be a really informative video. I'll put it up on the forums, obviously on my channel, just to tell you the difference. This is the Inkosi on the left, the 25 on the right. I guess I could have broken down the 21 in Singo here, but I'd rather not have 3 knives taken apart at once because, it takes time to put them back together. Anyway, guys, really cool. I'm going to clean up my 25. It needs it. One thing I noticed in the box, now this is a Blade Show edition again. I mean, it comes with the birth card and everything, stickers, yada yada. Cloths are different. They're darker. This is the original Chris Reeves. This is the new one. It's really dark blue, so I don't know if they're going to a darker blue cloth. That's not a huge deal, obviously. No tool was included. I don't know if that's going to be standard. You can use I used a torque wrench. I also used a Allen wrench, to take it apart just like you would, or excuse me, is this one actually, for the pivot. You can use either or. If you look in the, you can't, it's hard to see. I don't know if the camera, you're not going to be able to pick it on camera. You kind of see the torques grooves in there that you can, so it allows you to use a Torx bit. You technically could on the 21s, but they gave you that tool, so you'd use that tool, you know. So it's a small minor thing. It's probably not really even a thing. So yeah, there's a snake knot lanyard versus, I don't know what lanyard. I usually take other lanyards off. That's another difference. So a lot of pictures were floating around after Blade Show and people that took them at Blade Show, but I never actually saw a video on it, so I wanted to make one, show you the differences, why the Inkosi should be a better knife than the 25. If the 25 never bothered you with the ergonomics, and you know, my 25 is super smooth, and I'm gonna keep it because it's actually got my son's birthday, which is pretty awesome. But I have no issues with the 25, but a lot of people had issues, and that's why they made the large Inkosi. So there you go. You still got the large Sebenzas. There's still plenty available. I'm sure they're going to continue to make the 21. This is my favorite one of all. If they made a Insingo Inkosi, we'd be in business, but we'll see what that happens. So I'm gonna obviously keep that one. That's my favorite, one of my favorite UC knives ever. But worth having the Inkosi, the large Inkosi. For me, the 25 never bothered me. So are these upgrades worth buying another one? That's totally up to you. For me, it came down to I want to check it out. It's a new knife. People rave about the small Inkosi, but for me, it was always just way too small. I've handled one, and it was smaller than a small Sebenza. And small Sebenza was at one time my favorite size EDC knife, but I've kind of migrated back to the larges. But anyway, guys, just want to do a quick comparison. Those are the things I've noticed, and some of those things that were on the forums are confirmed in this video. So pretty cool stuff. And I'm sure someone that has even more knowledge of Sebenzas and Chris Reeves knives may find some other additional things that I did not. But I want to get this video out here to, you know, kind of inform everyone. So thanks for watching and have a great day.